Welcome to Mirror Domains Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. And indeed, this is a live movie talk channel where we talk about all the trending movie news headlines of the day, live stream, where we talk about celebrity news, entertainment news headlines, all that kind of stuff that's just, well, happening on the trending pages, right? So we are going to be talking about Jade Mortal Kombat 2 news, casting news. Back to the Future 4, can that possibly happen? Maybe. Oppenheimer Runtime has been revealed. We kind of knew that one was going to be long. Yeah, that's fine. American Pie 5? Seriously? Wow, that would be kind of cool. Of course, it's Monday, so we'll be talking about the weekend's box office report. But let's start off the show by talking about this Momoa headline. Apparently, according to fans, Momoa's villain in Fast X is better than MCU's Kang. Wow. Huh. Well, if I were to rank villains this year, Kang would not be even in the top 5, probably. In fact, the villain from Guardians of the Galaxy 3's got to be up there as one of the best. And Momoa from Fast 10, it was the highlight for sure. He was definitely one of the better villains just because he was just allowed to go out there and do his thing, right? He was able to play with the scenes, play with the character. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it was a little bit over the top, but hey, I think collectively, most of us came out of the theater watching Fast 10 saying, yeah, that's a cool villain. Now, I like the headline because it is a little bit of shade to the MCU right now. Let's face it, even from the start, the MCU had throwaway villains, right? They had one-off villains that were only there for one, just to be as a threat to the hero for the one installment, and that's about it. Like, it wasn't really until they got the full Thanos storyline flowing, then we would get like a villain that would be set up for like later on, right? Like, and that didn't really even happen until Avengers, right? So, yeah. Anyway, Kang is supposed to be setting up for the next big villain in the MCU, and most of us are kind of like, he was bested by Ant-Man. Ha! 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 And that's exactly what Jason Momoa's villain would be like too. He'd be kind of like, he'd just laugh at it. He was definitely worthwhile seeing in the theater for sure. Jason Momoa, Fast X villain. So, guys, what do you think about this headline? Do you agree with what they're saying? Was he better than some of the MCU villains? Watched Fast X today. Got to say, just Momoa as Dante was a better villain than Kang. Somebody said Momoa is the MVP and best villain of the franchise. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say that too. Out of all the villains, like, 'cause now that they've kind of, what they did with Cypher and this, with Charlize, Jason Statham would have been a really cool bad guy, but then he's, they all start off bad, but then they become part of the family. Like, it's like, no, and oh God. I tell you this, if they somehow make him a misunderstood villain in part 2 or whatever that comes out, that he was misguided and now he sees the error of his ways and he wants to be friends with Dom. No, don't do that. I want to see him throw down with Vin Diesel. I want to see a big fight, and it'll be crazy because Vin Diesel's got like superhero strength, lifting cars with one arm and pulling down ceilings with his, yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's going to be crazy. Of course, he's probably not going to take his licks, so it's not going to have that much of a threat level because there's things in Vin Diesel's contract that he can only take so many punches because he doesn't want to be perceived as a weakling or something. Whatever. Momoa, he's going to be fine. I'm kind of like thinking, what if Momoa wins somehow in the end of Fast 11? What if he does win? Would I be okay with that? Yeah. I think I would. Would you guys? Let me know in the comments below. Momoa, better than Kang. One of the best Fast and Furious villains out there for sure. I think so. Byford in the live chat, Byford DeHaven in the live chat says, hey, how's it going? Yes, as you can see, guys, we are a live show, and we do have live chats that you guys can come in and talk about all of these. If you got celebrity news that you want to talk about, you got other entertainment headlines, hey, this is an entertainment news channel. This is a celebrity news channel, so we talk about all this stuff here on this show. We talk movies, movie talk channel. Yes. Yeah. Hey, what's with these words, James? What's going on here? I don't understand. Well, I'm just trying to highlight certain things. If you were like a computer, and let's say your brain worked like a computer and had a weird algorithm going on in it, it would just be totally weird, wouldn't it? But anyway, if you like what you see, here's all my other social media handles where you can follow along with some of the stories, behind the scenes stuff, and extended versions of like my ranking videos are on TikTok and Instagram. All right, guys, it's Monday, so let's take a look at the weekend's box office report. Chris Schober says hi in the live chat. Hi, how's it going? Okay, so we know that Fast 10 opened up this weekend, and it was big, right? Right? It had to be big. Let's pull up the numbers from the Box Office Mojo here for the weekend of May 19th to the 21st. Now, it is a long weekend here in Canada, but it's not in the States. They have their long weekend next weekend. So the top 5 are for the weekend of the 20th weekend of 2023. Top 5 are Fast X was number 1. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was number 2. A Super Mario Bros. Movie was number 3. Book Club, The Next Chapter was number 4. Oh, I'm happy about that. Actually, I'm really happy about that. Evil Dead Rise hangs in there at the 5th spot. And that's pretty much expected what we saw from last week, right? We knew that Fast 10 was the only one opening up this week, and it's opened up for a domestic take of 67.5. Ooh, is that good? We talked about this yesterday when it first rolled in. I did a whole video about this. If we just took at those domestic numbers, this would be a bomb. This would be a horrible box office bomb. Because remember, numbers don't go up, guys, on like the weekend's haul. So like next weekend, it's going to take about 40, if it's lucky, 40 million next week, because it's going to be opening up against, well, it's going to be opening, it'll be up against the opening Little Mermaid movie. And then after that, it's got the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I don't know how that's going to work. But as you can see here, the international numbers are much higher. And that's the case with all the Fast and Furious movies. 199.8 internationally for a worldwide total of 267. So remember, these two numbers here will not get that much higher. The international numbers will stay a little bit more even. They won't have such a dramatic drop as the domestic numbers. Like the domestic numbers, as I said, will drop from like 67 to about 40, 38-ish million next week. It's not going to have a sustaining power here in the North American box office. Fast 10. It's one of those movies where it comes, it goes, you see it, you grab your phone, you text about it, you tweet and say, oh, that was sort of, yeah, we had so much fun there. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I want pizza. And then you totally forget about it, right? That's what typically most people do here in North America. But as I said, internationally, that's where the box office for most of the Fast and Furious movies get made. Now, we take a look at some of the numbers here from the past ones. Worldwide box office numbers here. Look at the ratio here between the domestic and worldwide for just the how far indifferent it is, right? Actually, here on this numbers, it's saying 318 internationally. So it's climbing up there. It's climbing close to the reported box office budget. The reported box office budget there for Fast 10. The reported box office was 340 million. Now that's not without marketing, guys. So let's say 440 with marketing, plus what theaters will take. It's got to make around 600 million for it to start to say, oh, this is a break-even kind of property. And as we went into this quite in detail yesterday, so I'm just going to do kind of like a surface level thing here. I'm not going to break down all the other trends of the other movies here, but if you want, you can go to the numbers website and take a look at this. It is curious to see, like, if you are a numbers man, if you are somebody who is into like crunching all of this stuff, and you want to look at trend lines, the trend line for the Furious movies have been going down. So I said yesterday, I don't know if they're going to make it a trilogy. You heard that Vin Diesel wants to make the final 3 movies a trilogy. But I look at these numbers, and as a studio executive, with the production budget going like into the orbit, I'm kind of like, what the heck? Can we, if the numbers are going down and our budget seems to be going up, logic seems to dictate that we shouldn't make a trilogy. We should just end it with 11. And I think that's what needs to happen with the Fast and Furious movie. Just end it off with a big bang with number 11. And it's going to be bloated. It's going to be like a 3-hour movie. The budget's going to be like $450 million or some stupid thing like that. For some god-awful reason. But as I said, the saving grace of the Fast and Furious movies is that international market that you can see here worldwide. The box office from the international markets save the Fast and Furious movies. So in the past weeks, yesterday we looked at 7, 8, and 9 all made like $1 billion worldwide, while the domestic had gone down. International numbers is the ones that have kept it because they just for some reason, it just could be exposure. They just haven't been exposed to as many movies as we have here in the North American box office. We know what kind of product this is. This is, oh, James, no, I was about to say something that would get people angry, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's B movie fare on a high production. It's a B movie with like blockbuster budget. That's what it is, and it's which is fine, guys. I had fun with Fast 10. I said that out of the theater that it was fine. I didn't agree with the critics that it was like 54%, but I didn't agree that it was 86% like the audience. This is the type of movie that's immune to the harsh scrutiny of film criticism. But as I said, the audience that wants to go out and see it is just they'll go out and see it, but I don't know if they're going to go out and see it with multiple viewings, right? If they're going to say, "Oh, that was so awesome, I got to go out and see it again," kind of thing. I don't see that happening here. It's not going to have like the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 repeat value to it. It may. We'll have to see as numbers come in. There are contingencies out there that are saying, what is a global blockbuster? Yeah, there are people that are trying to spin it as a big blockbuster. Now, guys, I've shown you the numbers. So putting the title or the moniker of blockbuster on this, when it's only made, well, it's being reported at around 300 million. But with the budget, we got to keep the budget in mind, guys, plus the marketing and all that stuff. Blockbuster is not a word that you would associate with this kind of ratios. Blockbuster. Not yet. And even if it does make $1 billion, it's profitable, but not even close to a ratio like a Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. 1.2 billion with what? Was it a $60 million budget? $50 million budget for Super Mario? Like that ratio is that's what I would classify as a blockbuster. Oh, I'd say it had 100 million, but still, that's like 10 to 1, 11 to 1. 11 to 1 odds for Super Mario. That's blockbuster-ish. If Fast and Furious 10 makes $1 billion, that's like 1 to 3. You understand? You hear that, right? It's not even maybe even 1 to 3. It's like 60%. So it's almost like Not even 1-to-1. It's not 1-to-1. If it makes $1 billion, it's not 1-to-1. It's like 0.9-to-1. Just betting odds. It's safe, but it's not blockbuster. You see what I'm saying here? Like if Fast X were to be like on the same level as Super Mario as far as being a blockbuster, it would have to make let's see, 600 million times 11. It would have to make no 600 million times 11. It would have to make $6.6 billion. Yeah. So Fast 10 would have to make $6.6 billion to be on the same level of comparison as blockbuster as Super Mario. And it's not. But anyway, Super Mario hanging in there in the third spot with 9.8 million. It's moving along nicely, and I think it's going to probably cap out. I don't know if it's going to make 1.3. It's gonna cap out somewhere like around 1.25, 1.26 maybe, because it is slowing down now. It's had its good run. What else came out this weekend? Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on its second weekend dropped 48%. That's a good haul for a worldwide total of 659. Yeah. Yeah, see the domestic numbers here, 266.5 for Guardians 3. That is... Fast 10 is going to be very lucky if it gets that. Very. It's probably not even going to make 200 million domestic. It's probably not even going to make 200 million domestically, Fast 10. So we take it with all of a grain of salt. Book Club, the next chapter, is hanging in there in the fourth spot. I reviewed it. I went out and watched this movie. I found it very charming. Very charming. It was harmless. 13 domestically, so it's opening up in international markets now. 16.9 worldwide. And I think the budget for this was like 27 million or something. So it's still got a bit of a ways to go. People just aren't going out to see it. It didn't have a very good marketing campaign. It didn't. But I have high hopes for Book Club. I had fun with it. Fairly charming. So, was that it for... Master Gardener also opened up this, but only in 220 theaters. And this is another one that I want to watch with Joel Edgerton and Sigourney Weaver, where he's like her gardener, who's like an ex-assassin or something, and she wants him to train her daughter to like defend herself. I hear that it's a slow burn, and but I do want to check it out for sure. Let's take some live comments while we're still here, and I don't want to get too far behind in live comments. Just ones that relate to the box office here. Chris Ober says, I'm wondering who would be the villain for the next Star Wars. That has nothing to do with the box office. But that would it would just be a student being tempted by the dark side. One of her students, Ray's students. That's Back to the Future, American Pie. Bifer says Fast X best movie for 2023. Goosebumps nonstop. My mind was blown. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, we all got our tastes, right? And there's no problem with it. Hey, if you really liked it, by all means, have at it. Okay, so that's it for pretty much. We'll stop here talking about in between the box office stuff here. There was one other movie that is not here on the charts because it was a streaming movie. At least I don't think that it was. I thought that it was. There was a movie called Robots that got released as well, but I'm not seeing it here. With Shailene Woodley, Sanctuary, Moon Garden, and I didn't want to see it. Hypnotic, is that Ben Affleck movie not doing so well, man. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is also really good out there. Robots. Let's talk about that. Robots. Shailene Woodley. It's basically these people have like robot slaves that do all like the housework and do all the chores for them that they don't want to do. And the two robots that Shailene Woodley and this other guy have, they meet and they fall in, the robots fall in love with each other. I thought the trailer looked fairly charming, and I'm a big Shailene Woodley fan. So this movie came out. It was on a streaming service, though. Let me just see what. I think it was Peacock, based on a short story, "The Robot Who Liked Me." Ha! Is this supposed to be a variation of "The Spy Who Loved Me"? Yeah, Robots is likely to underwhelm at the box office, but could do decent business on streaming. Oh, so maybe it's not out yet. Maybe it's. I thought it was supposed to be on Peacock or something. Huh. But yeah, I could have sworn that it had a release date. I'm just going to go to the trailer here. Yeah, Shailene Woodley. She is a good actress. In theaters, May 19th and on demand. Okay, so it's on VOD. But it said May 19th and it said in theaters, so it should have been ranking. And I know that Shailene Woodley's been promoting it on her social media. I follow her on Instagram. It should have had a release here, but it's not being corralled here by Box Office Mojo, which does give me a little bit of, seriously? Did it get buried? The reviews did come in. Robots, 29%. Oh, that's not good. No, it's got 4 reviews by the critics, but it's not revealing what it is. Fascinating. It's almost like this got buried. Right? Buried. 29%. That's not good. I thought the premise looked funny. That these two robots are doing the mundane jobs. They fall in love. I thought it looked like it could be possibly quite charming. And I do like Shailene Woodley and Jack Whitehall. So we got some reviews up, but we don't have a percentage from the critics. So it must be really, really blacklisted here. Theaters, May 19th, limited. But it's not showing. Huh. I do want to see it. As the contrivances go up, the laughs go down in this romantic comedy with a science fiction twist and a potentially amusing premise is squandered along the way. So nobody liked it. So I'm guessing 0 is probably the percentage right as of right now, which sucks. And I just participated in a live chat over the weekend where somebody was complaining that there was no rom-coms in theaters. Well, take a big whiff of Robots as to why there's not rom-coms that much anymore, right? This was a rom-com. Nobody was paying attention to it. We talked about the trailer here on the channel. We talked about at least that one trailer. It just didn't get good word of mouth. Kind of sucks because I would have liked to have seen it get a little bit of a return here on the box office report. Kind of a bummer. All right. Let's go in and take some comments here. Let's take some of these. Let's talk about these Star Wars comments that Chris Schober wants to talk about. What is the Back to the Future 4? Does it have a release date yet? Well, we'll talk about that in just a few moments. Does American Pie have a release date? Well, we'll talk about that in a few moments. I just got my Star Wars Andor Season 1 got shipped to my house. Okay, nice, cool, man. I do like Andor. Bix. God, I love Bix. We don't need a spin-off about Bix. We just need to see her more. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want. And Marva. All right. Back to the Future 4. Seriously? Are they going to. There's been talks about that. Uh, that maybe they could have one, but for years and years now, Michael J. Fox says that he's done with acting. He's retired because his Parkinson's has just become too crippling. But Christopher Lloyd says that he's down for Back to the Future 4, despite that most other key players are not. Yeah, they're not in game for this. They don't want to be part of this. But Christopher Lloyd says that he would be up for it. Which is possible, but I see that if they do a Back to the Future, another one, I think it would be kind of like a requel. They would try to reboot it, um, which is always possible. Hey, you know what? And it doesn't even have to like be a part 4 necessarily. It could just be another Back to the Future. You know, somebody else finds Doc Brown's blueprints for the flux capacitor, and you just go on another set of adventures. And then, yeah, you would have Christopher Lloyd in there as a cameo, kind of like, hey, don't screw around with the timeline kind of thing. He wouldn't go on the adventure himself necessarily, but he'd be kind of there, kind of like, you found my notes. Why did you do this? Why did I allow you to find my notes? If I know that that's happened, I would have gone back in time to make sure that you didn't find the notes, right? To rebuild the time machine. Well, we know at the end of the third one, he did build another one out of a train. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's possible that they could make another one, like a requel. And I think they should. We still have our first 3. I really like the third one as quite a bit. Michael J. Fox, as I said, is just, it's past his time to consider it, because it's just, he's dealing with his health issues right now, and that's what I would prefer that him focus in on, just maintaining that and hanging around here for as long as he can. But the other thing too is Christopher Lloyd is no spring chicken. He's getting up there in age too, like he's in his late 80s, right? 84. He's 84. So he told Variety recently, quote, I would love to do a sequel, but I think Bob Zemeckis and producer Spielberg felt that they told the story in 3 episodes, but if somebody has a brilliant idea that would justify the 4th film, it might happen, Lloyd added. Close quote. Yeah. So I think if there was going to be a 4th one, you wouldn't see Michael J. Fox's character. Like it would just be about the time machine. That's the way that they would have to do it, right? You could maybe have like a nod of like Doc Brown looking at a web page that would have like Marty McFly's success or something on the side, and it would be like an Easter egg kind of thing. That's pretty much all you could do, but you would have to do it without the McFlys, or you would have to do it without Marty McFly. You could maybe do it with a McFly like descendant of some kind, but yeah, I don't see that happening, but I think eventually, somewhere along the lines, the studios will pull the trigger and do some kind of a reboot or something like that. Arglass says, "Great Scott!" Yeah, Arglass also says maybe Eric Stoltz could come from another dimension and join Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, because Eric Stoltz was the original Marty McFly. He was cast as Marty McFly, and then he got recast like, what was it, a month into production? That would be interesting. That would be kind of like a cool nod. They could do stuff like that. But as I said, even if they do a 4th one, I don't think that Doc Brown would go on the adventures with him because he's like 84. Although, um, the old ladies in book club next chapter, one of them was 85. Jane Fonda was 85, and she went on an adventure into Italy. So why can't 83-year-old, 84-year-old Christopher Lloyd go on an adventure? As long as it wouldn't be too camp booky. But the headline grabbed me, and the headline is what would grab most people for movie news. And they would say, well, let's talk about this. Hey, that's what we do here on this channel, right? Okay. Oppenheimer is a movie that is going to be coming out, and it comes out this summer. And if you haven't seen the trailers, like I saw the trailer again on the Fast and Furious movie, and it plays really well on the big screen. Christopher Nolan confirms Oppenheimer is his longest movie yet. You'd better get the large popcorn if you're going to see Oppenheimer in the theater. Yeah, I don't get the large anymore because my mouth just gets so... the salt just dries my mouth out too much. I do love it, though. I do love it. So, how long is it going to be? It just comes in under 2 hours. 2 hours and 49 minutes. What? No, that's Interstellar. Sorry. Interstellar at 2 hours and 49 minutes, but Oppenheimer is closer to 3 hours, just under 3 hours. So like 2 hours and 58 minutes, I think I saw somewhere. Sounds very familiar. Just go to the IMDb, James, and check it out there. All right. Yeah, saying here 3 hours. It's not going to be Killers of the Flower Moon 3.5 hours. It's not going to be like that. But it's going to be a long one, Oppenheimer. And this will affect the box office a little bit. But Avatar Way of Water was 3 hours, James, and that made $2 billion, right? Well, the thing is that also was not the same subject matter, right? That had a mass appeal. Kids wanted to go out and see Avatar Way of Water. Kids, hey, let's go watch this Oppenheimer movie about the guy who built the atomic bomb. Can I just go play Transformers instead? Yes, Billy, you can go play with Transformers instead. That's the distinction of the audiences, right? I still want to see it. The runtime, yeah, I don't like long run times, but the cast in this is stellar. It's Christopher Nolan, and I'm hoping that it's a return to form for him, that most people will like what he's doing in this. Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Gary Oldman, Jack Quaid, Josh Hartnett, Kenneth Branagh. Huge cast. Huge. And Dane DeHaan. I can't wait to see what he's going to be in this movie. Tony Goldwyn, the bad guy from the Ghost movie with Patrick Swayze. What happened to Dane DeHaan? He had such a bright future. He's like one of the most underrated actors out there right now. He's still working, it looks like. He was in some TV stuff, a lot of TV stuff. And he's got range. He can transform. Oppenheimer, Dumb Money, McCarthy, The Tiger, American Primeval, Chronicle. Most people will recognize him from. Yeah. He's got the talent. He definitely does. And I want to see more of him. So he's going to be in Oppenheimer. That comes in just under 3 hours, guys. What do you think about that runtime? Is it going to be an issue for you? I don't think it'll be an issue for me. As I said, maybe you just need to grab that big popcorn and go, yeah. Arglass says Oppenheimer would be a heavy but teachable moment for kids. Oh, well, you know what? Here's the thing that's cool about this Oppenheimer is that what's that old saying that goes, if you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it, kind of thing, right? And that's one good aspect of making films about these events, is that you kind of remind yourself as a society that, oh yeah, this thing happened, wasn't necessarily a good thing. And that's what this is examining, right? The conflict in Oppenheimer that, should I really be building this? And I hope they do that destroyer of worlds quote. You know, I've become the destroyer of worlds or whatever. I hope they do that. It was that he said that, right? I've become death, the destroyer of worlds. He said that, right? Pretty sure that was Oppenheimer. That was him. Now I am become death. Yeah, the destroyer of worlds. Very haunting. Haunting quote. It's probably going to end. You think the movie's going to end with that? With him saying that quote? Possible. It's a good quote though. Very iconic. Our glass breaking socks. Dane DeHaan was great in Valerian. Yeah, I did like him in Valerian. I like that movie. Is Valerian on Netflix? Uh, do I got time to pull up my Netflix? Maybe. Why not? Hey, who cares if we go a little bit over time today? Uh, where is it on Disney Plus? No, it's not. It's not on Netflix. Um, Oops. Oh yeah, he was in Lawless. He played kind of a mentally challenged person in Lawless with Shia LaBeouf and uh, Tom Hardy. He was like a mechanic too, right? He was good in that. He was also in Two Lovers and a Bear. What? Tulip Fever, and of course, yes, he was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as that weird abomination they called the Green Goblin. Um, yeah. All right. Arglass says, I'm cool with run times as long as good seats and some snacks. I'm set. Mine is the guy behind me rustling his paper bag and talking on his phone. Yeah. Well, that's always a pain in the butt. All right, guys, we're talking movies here. You like talking movies, and come join us here. And I give it to you guys straight as quickly as I can. I don't give a lot of fluff in between. Talking about how I stubbed my toe and how I had a barbecue yesterday and stuff like that. Yeah, that stuff helps relate, but it's not relevant to movie talk stuff. Let's talk about the writer's strike. David Zaslav gets booed at Boston University graduation amidst the writer's strike. So he got booed, just like Gary Bettman in the NHL. When he comes out on the ice, he gets booed because he's the big CEO of Warner, of the new DC and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see him getting booed. That's what people tend to do. Um, but he's not responsible for the writer's strike. He's part of it, yeah, but he's not. He's not the sole responsible person. I guess people just see him as like the figurehead because he is the CEO. But he's the one that brought on James Gunn to redo the DCU. So I'm kind of like, I don't think I would boo him. Those cries began as CEO's introduction by BU president. The chants and booing immediately picked up, followed by what would become a constant ebb and flow of calls throughout the 20-minute speech. Ooh, 20-minute speech. That's quite the lengthy speech. So people didn't like it. Pay your writers. We don't want you here. Shut up, Zaslav, or somebody calls him Zoloff. I got nothing wrong with him until his 10-year plan of rebooting the DCU falls off the rails. I have no problem. I guess because he's a graduate from Boston University. He says, "I am grateful to my alma mater." I am too. You know what? I'm very humble to where I graduated. You got to have that. A little bit of pride like that doesn't hurt. But right now, it's not necessarily the most uh, uh, appropriate time to be doing this when you're the big CEO of a movie studio production company kind of thing. Just keeping our eye on that. Talent agencies are starting to tighten their belt amid the writers' strike. So talent agencies are, well, hey, if there's no productions going on, then how can we represent you to go out and find projects, right? So they're saying that we got to, cut staff for talent agencies? That sucks. Work stoppage. Talent agencies are getting cost cutting mode. Well, yeah, because you can't have people sitting in the office doing nothing, which sucks. So this is kind of like collateral damage of the strike. They're not writers, but they're people who go out and get talent. And if productions are being stopped or not being worked on because of the strike, then the collateral damage is starting now to take effect with the writer's strike. And I hope, God, guys, get back to the bargaining table. Get a mediator in there if you can't. That, forces the sides to come together. Instead of, I don't like this jousting of, how long can you go without talking? We can go longer. We don't need you. We'll wait for you to actually feel some of the impacts. And I hate that jousting of time, using time as a weapon in these negotiations. I really, really hate it. Because then, in the end of the day, you guys are going to come together. You are going to make an agreement of some kind. The time that you're using as weapons right now, it's a huge detriment to not only yourselves, but also people on the fray, people on the sides, people like the people working in talent agencies. And I understand that is for a noble cause. But, and I side with the writers. I do. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that they should acquiesce and just bend the knee to everything that the studios want. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that you got to talk. And if you're spending 8 hours in a room spinning your wheels, that's why you need that mediator in there. This whole process is a song and dance of, I'm familiar with these work stoppages because of sports, because I see it happening I've seen it happen in baseball and hockey. And I hate it, man. I hate it. Because it affects, if it was sports, and the collateral damage were people that work in stadiums, right? People that work on the TV broadcasting side of stuff. Those people need those jobs too, right? Talent agencies, they need their work too. But just a quick little update there about the writer's strike. Is more like, aside from productions being shut down, there are other things that we should be talking about as well, like with that collateral stuff. Just to be cognizant and aware, informed, right, as to what's going on. American Pie 5. Guys, I was a huge fan of the American Pie series. I really was. Except for those straight to DVD ones. I'm not really on board with those. But this headline caught my eye for sure. American Pie 5 talks are happening, and they have a great idea, says Sean William Scott, who plays Stifler. Now, I find this a bit odd because Sean William Scott has come out a couple of times saying that, he's been somewhat pigeonholed, typecast as the Stifler character, and it's been hard for him to get work. So I would find it kind of odd that he would be wanting to return to this, but he says that there's a great idea out there for this. I heard that from other ones that there was going to be a reboot of the American Pie from they had hired a writer to come on to do it, a female writer, and it was going to be like a female version of American Pie. And it wasn't going to have anything to do with this cast. But this seems to suggest that it would deal with this cast. And this cast had great chemistry. That's what I really liked about the American Pie movies. It doesn't have to be an American Pie movie. Just hire the same cast to do something else. Do like a murder mystery with them, or because they just work well together. That's what clicked. Anyway, let's take a look at his quote here, and about the idea of American Pie 5. Quote, I don't know. I just love the character so much. We have to have that. It's not what you've been saying about being pigeonholed. But anyway, we have to have a great idea, and especially these days, it was awesome. You know, comedy is tough, and they have always been tough. But you know, comedies have really changed. But I think, honestly, we have been talking about an idea. I had one, and I still have one that we've literally just recently started talking about playing Stifler. Okay. It would be so much fun to see, I think, fun, but also fascinating to see a guy Stifler in his mid 40s today trying to figure things out. A guy who hasn't really changed that much, but the world has changed. Well, no, that's sort of the thing that kind of got burnt out, is that he didn't really change. But I do like the idea of going back to these characters while they're older. They did it for American Reunion, right? Just have it about their kids or something like that. Yeah, that's what I would do. Like have him be like Jim be like or even take the focus off Jim. I know it may be a little bit too much, but have it about Stifler then. You know, and then they would be like the supporting cast around them. And like it's not as if Chris Klein's doing anything, or even Jason Beggs, right? Natasha Lyonne is. she's doing well. Mina Savari's not doing that much. She's done her TV stuff, right? And the guy who played Finch is doing TV stuff. But it's just possible. But yeah, the last I heard, there was a female writer that had come on to redo it. She made such a good pitch to the studios that they're like, yeah, we're going to do that. And this article doesn't seem to be suggesting that Sean William Scott would be bringing this on board, and that's what people would want to see. Again, it's the audience. It's people would go see that, but it's got to be something better than that made-for-TV stuff like Stifler Goes to Camp or whatever it's called. Sean William Scott was last seen, or is going to be seen, in the upcoming Wrath of Becky, right? He's the bad guy in that. So yeah, he does have other levels of acting besides Stifler. I liked him in Goon, so he can do comedy as well too. But man, if you go back to that franchise, then you're not going to get rid of it. Maybe that's why he's talking about it now. He's embraced it. He said, oh, yeah, I'm not going to be able to shake it. I'm Stifler for the rest of my life. Hey, might as well roll with it. If you got a good idea, and that's what he's saying, that there's a good idea, just keep that budget low. It doesn't need to be like $100 million production or anything like that. If you can do a American Pie for $20 million, it would make it. It would make it. Like rom-coms don't make that much anymore. Raunchy comedies do. Don't hold any punches back either. Don't. Yeah, push that envelope, I would say. Our Glass Viking says that I'd like Eddie King Thomas, who was Finch in American Pie. He was great in Scorpion TV. Oh yeah, he was in Scorpion. I think I saw a few episodes of those, right? Of that. They were like investigators or something like that. Christopher says Frozen 3 is confirmed for November 16th, 2025. Well, we'll see. We'll see about that. Maybe in the Twitter sphere. Our Glass says Sean William Scott was good in Bulletproof Monk. Yeah, he was. And Evolution. Yeah, he does have those other levels. But in American Pie 5, guys, would you be intrigued or interested to check this out? I always thought it would be cool to see a story between Oz and, was it Heather? Yeah, from Mina Savari. Mina Savari's, she's awesome too. And I know that people like Chris Klein. They tried to make Chris Klein a big thing. He's somebody who didn't have that extra gear of acting capability to carry it on. But what I liked was the ensemble. The ensemble sold it because Eddie K. Thomas. He's somebody who has that extra level that could ramp it up. And it was the dynamic between him and Stifler, Finch and Stifler. That was fun. Yeah, there's something there. If something else more happens with it, I'll be definitely wanting to check that out. Whoops. Wrong button, James. This news broke over the weekend about Jade. Jade 2. Jade. Sorry. I'm just looking at the box office results for the American Pie movies. I forgot that I pulled this. Looking at the box office worldwide. So they've only ever made at the most 286. So yeah, they can make $200 million. And as I said, you make that budget of 20 to 30 million. That's profitable. The last one had a $50 million budget. The first one had 12 million and made that much. So that's blockbuster quality. That's blockbuster ratio if you can make that, right? No, that's about half, 5 times the amount, right? But it's still that's worth a roll of the dice to make another one as a studio. I would be. Yeah. Mortal Kombat movie. We talked about this on the weekend. Tati Gabrielle in final talks to play Jade in Mortal Kombat 2. That's finally underway. Jade was kind of like a side character and like a hidden character in the first Mortal Kombat, right? She's the green ninja. Do we got a picture of her? We do not. I should have pulled that up. Wow. Yeah. Jade. I guess I'm going to have to pull up a picture of her because I do want some representation. Jade. Yeah. She was a hidden character. You unlocked her and she came in from the side with her staff, right, and attacked you. She's going to be played by Tati Gabrielle. I don't expect her to have a major character. She was not a major character in the game. I know that she's a fan favorite. Like they really expanded her lore quite a bit. She kind of got lost a little bit because I preferred the Katana Melina storyline, and then she was kind of like the reptile version of that, right? Why do you say that, James? Just because she's green? Well, yeah, but whatever. Jade, the actress that is in final negotiations, she was in that Netflix series called Kaleidoscope, which she was in. So, in final talks, this is going along. She was in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. You. So this is coming out in full force. We know that Carl Urban's set to play Johnny Cage, and they're all going to be secondary characters to Cole Young, who is the main character of this franchise. I don't know why. For God's sakes, Mortal Kombat 2. Talking about doing a requel poorly, like they've already started on this course. It's kind of like you're trying to stay the course. They should have just taken a page out of the. I've said it like The Last of Us. Stay close to the source material, but they're trying to reinvent the wheel with it, and we'll have to see if it works. We'll have to see. I'm glad that they're at least using the characters and not trying to recreate another new one. Ay. Yeah. Arglass says Chris Klein had a jock factor and was handsome, but didn't have the on-screen presence. Yeah, because what did they try with him? Rollerball 2000 or something like that, right? Have you watched American Pie Girl Rules movie? No. No, there's a lot of those American Pie straight, American Pie Presents movies that came out that I never watched. Like American Pie Band Camp. Yeah, I never watched. What was this last one? American Pie: The Book of Love. Yeah, no, because I didn't have the main characters. It had like Jim's dad in it for some reason, and it was supposed to be Stifler's younger brother was in one of these ones, right? Yeah, no, I never watched that one. They were fun. They were. All right, where are we at? Chasing Amy. This headline caught me. It was like, what the heck is this? Because I'm aware of the Chasing Amy movie with from uh, uh, Kevin Smith, but this headline here: Elemental Bottoms and Chasing Amy and Our Son are among Frameline's festival lineup. I guess it's going to be LGBTQ focused programming, June 14th to the 4th. Well, I guess in Northern California, yeah. Let's try this LGBTQ stuff in Florida. Nope, you're not having that. Sorry, I'm throwing just a touch of shade to some of the people in certain states. James, you're going to get rid of some of the honest. Well, the people that object to this kind of programming, I ain't got no time for you, man. Just deal with it. You're just going to have to accept that this is the way that society is going. But anyway, no high morality soapbox moments for me here. What caught me here was, what was this chasing Amy? Because I'm aware of the Kevin Smith movie Chasing Amy that was out with Ben Affleck, right? He falls in love with a lesbian, which I don't know if it would play all that well today with all the PC stuff. Saying that a lesbian would actually fall in love with a straight guy, is that really the story? That's a fascinating story. I thought it was, but then I guess this chasing Amy is kind of like a documentary of somebody's fandom for Chasing Amy, and it examines the complex legacy of Kevin Smith's Chasing Amy. LGBTQ plus person Sav Rogers writes and directs this. So it's just basically a quotes from people who acted in the movie and stuff, and what it meant to the LGBTQ community at the time, because they were portrayed in good light, right? It inspired people, and there was actually a trailer for this. So I like here I said that I don't know if this movie would play that well today, because it's kind of like, why would a lesbian person fall in love with a straight person? Are you trying to say that that she should be falling for a straight person? But the movie itself deals with that subject matter well, and it takes the perspective of one person here who was inspired by the way that the movie had representation. Is it one of Kevin Smith's better films? Yeah, I would probably say that. It didn't have that over the top campiness to it. So this person comes out and this person made this movie and saying that how it inspired them, right? And we get quotes in here from Kevin Smith and the cast, interviews, chasing Amy. So the comments are turned off for that. And this came out 2 weeks ago. And I do movie news here all the time, guys, and this just flew right under the radar. I think maybe because I've kind of tuned out of some of the Kevin Smith movies. Tusk was the last one that I was kind of like, oh, this is interesting to watch. But Yoga Hosers was kind of, ugh. Yeah, I ain't having none of that. Oh, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back again. I watched 20 minutes of that, and I was like, the acting in it was so atrocious. Oh, and Clerks 3. Clerks 3, I understand what he was doing, but Clerks 3 was not a comedy. It was a dark kind of retelling of what actually happened with him with his heart attack. But Luke Evans is part of that community. How about that, eh? Billy Porter and Our Son. Fascinating. Yeah. So I'll have to take a look out for that Chasing Amy. Did it have a release date? No, I don't think it did. June 8th. Sorry, 2023. Hey, if you're making a movie about a Kevin Smith movie and you got Kevin Smith to talk about it, that's cool, man. We know Kevin Smith likes to talk. So there you go. All right, guys, we are running a little bit of overtime today. That's fine. I didn't really have anything else keyed up for this afternoon. It is a long weekend here in Canada, so most people will have today off. But we'll go an extra 30 minutes maybe. We'll do some hit or miss, and then we'll go on to the Twitter sphere, see if I'm missing anything, see if any new trailers dropped. So hit or miss headlines. How does this work? If it's a hit, we'll talk about it. If it's a miss, we'll just move on. We talked about this on the weekend. Ollie Crevallo won't reprise her role as Moana in the live action. Cannot wait to help find new lead. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday too. So the actress who voiced Moana is not going to return, despite the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to reprise his role. They're finding somebody new for this. And she just took to her social media to make that announcement. I guess maybe because she's too old, right? They got to find somebody else younger. But she went on like a class act to wish them well. That doesn't mean that she can't be a cameo, though. Right? Yeah. So as an executive producer on the film, okay, so she's executive producing, putting a little bit of her own money into it. Cannot wait to help to find the next actress to play Moana. Courageous spirit, undeniable wit, and emotional strength. I've never watched Moana, so we may have to watch Moana as a grumpy man reacts. Because I'm a grown man. Why would I sit down and watch a kids movie? It's just something that I never did. So there are a bunch of kids movies that I've never watched simply because of that reason. We might get to that. That's kind of a hit, right? Firebrand Image reveals first look at Jude Law and Alicia Vikander in Henry VIII and Catherine Parr. So Jude Law is playing Henry VIII, and she's playing one of his many wives. Let me guess, she gets hung at the end. Wait. Yeah, he hung most of his wives, right? He only chopped off one of their heads. Jeez. Yeah, some of the kings were awful back then. Because he wanted to have an heir, and the women would try to produce an heir, a male heir, and they kept on producing girls for him, right? And if they produced a girl, it would be kind of like off with the head. That's the history, right? God. But Alicia Vikander, I'm a big fan of hers. It's a bummer what happened with Tomb Raider 2. Wanted to see more with her, but they're rebooting that. Firebrand, which is described as more of a psychological horror or political thriller than a traditional period film. It's based on Elizabeth Fremantle, Queen's Gambit, and primarily follows Parr as Law's Henry VIII nears the end of his life, facing declines with both his physical and mental health. Yeah, not the kind of stand-up dude that you would want to hang around with. Jude Law stepping into that. Jude Law's top-tier talent anyway. That's kind of a hit. I'll check that out. What's next? Oh, yes, on the weekend, Jim Brown passed on. 87 years old. So that's a good life, guys. That's a good, long life. Passed away at the age of 87. He started off in the NFL, right? But then he was in stuff like Mars Attacks. Jim Brown turned actor. That falls into our realm as a celebrity, because we're a celebrity news channel. We definitely talk about this stuff. Mars Attacks, he stood out. For me, he did. I'm not going to redo what the entire thing is here, but rest in peace. Rest in peace for sure. Great career. Good life, right? Jim Brown. Frankie Muniz, Violet Bean to star in sci-fi thriller about manipulative AI. Well, you couldn't get any more topical about AI right now, right? That's going on right now. because of the writer strike too. Though it's going on with that, how it's going to be impacting writers and storytelling. If you just plug in a computer to say, "Oh, I want a story with these elements," create one, right? Um, about manipulative AI. Very topical. Munez there, of course, was in Malcolm in the Middle, and Agent Cody Banks. He's a bit older now, making a return to acting a little bit. Meh. Is that a hit? For me, it's kind of like meh. The CW is no longer developing the Powerpuff Girls, Zorro, Jake Chang, and Justice U live action. So the Powerpuff Girls is the one that I'm kind of like, yeah, I've seen production photos of these are the Powerpuff Girls, right? They didn't look like the cartoonist ones. They're not developing that anymore. No love lost here. CW, that's under Zaslav's umbrella of stuff, right? Canceling a lot of the TV stuff. Zorro, that sucks. We need another Zorro. We need it with Antonio Banderas too, handing it off to like another generation. Because Zorro, there's some good stories there with Zorro. Bummer, man. TV show at least not being developed anymore. Bunch of stuff getting axed from the axe of Zaslav, maybe? I don't know. Whatever. That one's kind of a miss. Best horror movies on Tubi. Well, we everybody has access to Tubi, and I do like horror movies. Bone Tomahawk's on Tubi. I do want to watch Bone Tomahawk with you guys. I do. That has to be in order. One of these days, guys. That's a really good movie. The Hills Have Eyes 2. Or sorry, no, just The Hills Have Eyes. 1977. That's a good movie. The Return of the Living Dead. Did I see that? Sounds very familiar. Spider Baby, 1967. Never saw that. Jason X. Oh, that's on Tubi. I have lots of fun with Jason X. Liquid Nitrogen. The liquid nitrogen death. How could you not like that one, right? Intruder, 1989. I need to watch Phantasm. I'm sure I've seen it. I know it's like those balls that have like razors on them that fly around and cut you and stuff. But there's more going on to it than just that. I need to revisit that. Maybe we can rewatch that one too. Sleepaway Camp is a cult classic. Everybody likes this visage, even though this visage was just that was wax or not wax, but that was just a makeup, right? That was just like a mask, a good mask. That was like the big reveal scene too. Creepshow 2 with the carpet or the garbage bag monster. Texas Chainsaw, the first Texas Chainsaw is on Tubi right now. Somebody recently, not recently, but a while ago, asked me to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Maybe that's a possibility as well. It's possible. And finally, before we get into Twitter sphere, Foo Fighters announced new drummer preparing for upcoming concerts. So, as we know, last year Taylor Hawkins died, which sucked because it was like a month and a half after Studio 666 came out, where you saw Taylor Hawkins with Foo Fighters making a movie about like a haunted mansion. It was a lot of fun, but it was tragic. So Grohl went out and hired a new drummer. Josh Freeze. Well, I'm sure because Dave Grohl is a drummer himself, had some high standards. So you know that this Josh Freese guy, he can. You know that he can drum. He's around their age too, around 50, right? Grohl's like 53 or something, isn't he? 54. Yeah, because they were about 10 years older than me. Kurt would have been, yeah. New drummer for Foo Fighters. That's tough, man. But you got to heal, and he's somebody who's dealt with so much adversity in his life. People coming and going like that. I have huge respect for Dave Grohl. To pick up and to continue on, you know. All right, that's all I got for hit or miss. Let's pull up the Twitter sphere and see if I missed anything. I'm just going to refresh my YouTube page to see if any new trailers have dropped. I don't think that any trailers were expected to drop. But you never know. Sometimes they do. When I'm not paying attention. There's new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse clip. That's because that comes out next week. Some more Indiana Jones 5 TV spots. That comes out at the end of next month. Maybe they're trying to drop all those TV spots for Indiana Jones 5 because the reviews out of Cannes were not that good, right? All right, there's no new trailers. Let's go over to the film updates and see if there's anything out there in the Twitter sphere. A gory horror retelling of Cinderella is in the works. Well, that doesn't surprise me because of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Cinderella is one of those stories out there, guys, that because it's a grim fairy tale, that you can alter that and make it as... I better see the stepsisters cutting off their feet and toes to fit into the glass slipper part. I better see it. If you're going for that gory version, because that happened in the original story, but obviously you can't tell that part in the Disney version. Yeah, there's something there that you could do with that, for sure. New look at Asteroid City. Josh Howard King. Little Mermaid has debuted on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, so let's go over to Rotten Tomatoes. Is it here on the side? It is. As of 12/14, 70%, 47 critics. I'm still, guys, this weekend, I'm not going to see Little Mermaid on Thursday. I'm seeing The Boogeyman. I'll be going to see Little Mermaid on the weekend, hopefully with my niece. So I will see it. It's a movie that you guys don't need my straight out of the theater reaction for it on Thursday night. You'll get that for Boogeyman. 70%. Yeah. We're going to get this stuff throughout the week, so maybe we'll do this tomorrow. We'll take a look at the snapshot stuff. 70% there, 68 there. So it's going up. It's climbing. Dance the Night, Dua Lipa from Barbie. She did a song for Barbie. She's also in the movie, right? Dua Lipa. Little Mermaid is Delightful. New song from Dua Lipa. Yeah, we know that. Jude Law for being Henry VIII in Firebrand. Doing a press tour for that. Halle Bailey. Guy Pearce is returning for Neighbors. Is that a TV show? Guy Pearce. Very underrated actor. He's very versatile. Has a lot of range. I want to watch Ravenous with you guys because he's in that, right? He's in Ravenous, isn't he? Succession. Very final episode of Succession is an hour and 30 minutes. Only one episode of Succession is left. Kieran Culkin. Is that why he's trending on the side here? Michelle Yeoh and Brie Larson dancing. Yeah, there was the headline out there that Michelle Yeoh said that there's no script, there's no idea for, there's not going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once 2. They're just not going to do that. That's fine. Brie Larson, I don't know about her, guys. We just saw her in Fast 10, but for some reason on the weekend, there was a clip of Brie Larson trending with Scarlett Johansson saying, do you remember when we met? And she couldn't remember accurately. And Scarjo was kind of like, oh, you don't remember when we met? It was on this movie we made together. And Brie Larson just selective memory escaped, like, yeah, something weird's with her. I don't know what it is. May December debuts with 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Selena Gomez and Zoe Saldana in Paris filming musical crime comedy Emilia Perez. Cool. Firebrand. Yeah, we saw that image. Charles Melton. Michelle Yeoh. Yeah, she's just got that elegance to her, right? She's got that radiance. Missing is now streaming on Netflix. Is it? Actually, I like streaming. It was an interesting experience at the theater. Super Mario Bros. Is now the second highest grossing animated film of all time domestically. Domestically is the key word there, guys. Domestically. But it's an accolade that they will happily accept. It was a fun time at the movies. Guy Pearce started it in Neighbours, an Australian soap opera. It's been running for over 40 years. Oh, is it? I'm not from Australia, so I didn't know. But I'm a little bit ignorant to some things, especially on the TV side of stuff. New look at Secret Invasion premieres on Disney Plus June 21st. This is one I'm going to be watching, primarily because of Samuel L. Jackson. Secret Invasion, and it's got Emilia Clarke in it. Mother of Dragons. There she is. I'll be watching it for her. We'll probably be doing full live watch-alongs for Secret Invasion. That's next month, right? June 21st, yeah, so next month. Jennifer Lawrence at Cannes. Always got to take time to take a look at Jennifer Lawrence. Can't quite make out the dress. It's long. Red. Lady in red. Is that the only two photos? I want to see a better shot of the dress. It's out there, I'm sure. There it is. She's walking. She's moving pretty fast. So she was there for producing something called Bread and Roses. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to see the front because you couldn't see the front. And okay, so that stuff just kind of hangs off of her forearms. It's good to see that she's producing stuff now too. She's behind it, right? Okay, good. We got some better photos here. If you care to enlighten me, Getty Images. Yeah, there we go. There's a decent front view of it. Simple, but nice. All right. Who the heck is calling me from Indiana? Whoops. Who the heck is calling me from Indiana? Is it just... Do you guys do this? Do you Google who's calling you before you answer? It looks like it's just a robocall. Yeah. So I don't answer that. Go straight to the voicemail, and if it's in voicemail, I delete it. So there you go. All right. I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. Russell Crowe and Alan Dale were also in Neighbors. A bit of a pedigree. It's aired twice over on Primo, has it? Okay, Joaquin Phoenix will star in Todd Haynes' next film in the 1930s. It's a project that Joaquin brought to me. This is, I believe, his first gay role. I am excited about this project. Oh, in the 30s. Wow. Jennifer Lawrence. Different dress. So she's not in red there. So that's... Storm Reed, Vanity Fair. Yeah, she was good in Missing. She was the reason to watch Missing, especially in the final act. She's allowed to show a little bit of range. Paris Dickinson, Vanity Fair. Natalie Portman, always looking elegant. Red must have been the color of the day there, huh? Because both her and Jennifer were in red. Natalie Portman's easily one of my favorite actresses out there as well. Not because she's Padme, but she's also got that range. She's got that extra gear. And actually, so does Julianne Moore. She does too. Oscar Isaac and Rachel Brosnahan. Drama League Awards. So do you guys think that Rachel Brosnahan's going to be our new Lois Lane? I think she is. They're not a couple, are they? No, I don't think so. I don't pay attention to the TMZ stuff. All right. Just some more festival stuff. I'm not seeing any big trending stuff here that pops out at me. So we are running a little bit overtime. Oh yeah, I posted a video earlier this morning about Killers of the Flower Moon earlier reviews. That was just a cutout from yesterday's show. So if there's anything big that drops later on, or I may cut out one of these stories, maybe American Pie 5 story I'll cut out, or Back to the Future story. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for movie news stuff. Guys, as always, it's lots of fun here talking with you. I just feel like I'm rambling on, so we'll end it there for today. Tomorrow it's back to business as usual for the week. So more movie news tomorrow. And this week we finish up Survivor. So that'll be on Thursday. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe. And I'll see you next time on Mirror Domains. Enjoy the rest of your day.